everyone, and welcome to episode 10 of the regular season. My name is Nelstar15, aka Nell, and as always, I'm joined by Nate and Anthony Boyos. Anthony, let's start with you. How are we doing this week? How was week 10 for you, my friend?
It started great on Thursday. We upset the world. Nobody had us winning. Nobody. We even had a superstar come out of there, Robert Hunt, offensive lineman, who caught that screen pass, and they should have gave him the touchdown. They gave him a Madden Ultimate Team card. Thank you, EA. If you hear me, thank you for doing that. That was fantastic. It started great, and then my fantasy team happened. I don't want to talk about it. Let's go.
We're going to get to that. There's a bullet point for that. Nate, how was your weekend? How'd it go for you, bud?
Oh, it was great. You know, it's been pretty wild. Like I just got back from Sweden last night. I got in at midnight this morning. So I was, it was some late night watching a bit of Red Zone in the hotel room at 2 a.m. action. Didn't get to see as much of Monday night as I wish, but we'll get into the fantasy shenanigans in a little bit, I'm sure.
Well, you didn't miss much on Monday Night Football. But I got back at about midnight last night too, coming back from Phoenix. So great weekend. Glad to hear that you guys had great weekends. I obviously was one of about, 1,000 people that were happy at State Farm Stadium in Phoenix, Arizona. So
I saw your photo. I saw the Instagram post. It looked good.
Bro, they were mad.
I can't believe you'd have the guts to just take a selfie in front of a bunch of angry fans.
Okay, so
someone's gonna throw a beer at your phone, or
to be fair, the three people directly behind me were the friends that I went with.
Okay.
They made me sit in the row in front of them so they wouldn't associate with the Panthers fan. So I did, and then I was like, all right, well, I'm gonna take a picture when the score's 34-10. Anywho, hopping right into fantasy football. Week 10 was a fun one. I'm back in the win column. 9-1. I'm 9-1. Dude, and this was a tough win. Let me just say, I did not start the right people this week. Okay.
Oh, you telling me?
Okay. Well, let me just say, I started Cordell Patterson, Chris Godwin, and Elijah Mitchell, and on my bench were Devontae Smith, James Robinson, and Michael Carter, who accounted for 52 points, and then the other three combined were 20. I literally started the wrong people, but somehow squeaked it out. I'd like to thank the Dallas Cowboys defense for being my highest scoring player this week. 23 points. Appreciate you. Josh Allen, thanks for being you. But no, fantasy went well. The usual suspects showed up. James Conner he scored that touchdown in garbage time. Boy, howdy, I think I was the only Panthers fan that screamed for that touchdown. Everybody looked around me. I was like, I got him in fantasy. Don't worry. Thank you. So that was fun. But yeah, I'm back in the dub column. Here we go. We're ready to take it in my other league.
Congratulations.
Also still winning.
Proud of you.
Oh, thank you. But let's talk about some players. Top players this week. Good old CD Lamb coming in hot once again with 6 catches for 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. Now, I think the bigger story here is that CD Lamb has 35 targets over his past 4 games. Anthony, at this point, would you have to be completely insane in your brain to not start CD Lamb?
You have to. It's looking like it's Dak's go-to target. Mm-hmm. He's a baller. If they keep playing the way they're playing against Atlanta, it's going to be tough.
Yeah. Fair?
Yeah.
God, that was a mauling. We were sitting down in the stands watching that on the giant screen at State Farm Stadium, and everyone was just like, are they playing football? So, but then, hey, second top player come from the game I was at. McCaffrey's back, 13 rushes for 95 yards and then 10 receptions for 66 yards. Now, Nate, let's talk about this. McCaffrey's coming off of an injury. He's got a new quarterback now. So he did all this with P.J. Walker, but we all obviously know that Cam's probably starting next week. Are you trusting McCaffrey if you have him on your team? Obviously, you have to start him, right? But are you trusting him to really carry that load still?
Yeah, I think so. It comes with the territory. Nobody has Christian McCaffrey on their fantasy team if they didn't go for him early. Mm-hmm. It's just the way it is. You can take the injury stuff into consideration, but if you have McCaffrey on your roster and he's healthy, you have to play him. Period. You have to trust him. Otherwise, why do you have him on your team? How did you get him without burning an early pick? You need to have that faith.
All right, got it. I'm gonna make a prediction for next week. McCaffrey's gonna put up 100 and 100. First game with Cam back.
That's fine.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
We'll still lose.
McCaffrey's gonna put up 100 points and Ant's still gonna lose. Actually, we're gonna get to that. And then if you're talking about top quarterbacks, Pat Mahomes back in the dub column with 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Had 0 turnovers, and I think that's the bigger story here than the yardage and the touchdowns. The fact that he held onto the ball this time. I mean, obviously, it's Pat Mahomes. You're not going to sit him. If you got him, you're going to play him. Actually, I don't know. I had a friend that had Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes and started Lamar one week, and he actually scored more points. So, but I think Pat Mahomes is a must-start moving forward. A couple surprises. DeAndre Smith out of Detroit coming up with 130 yards. Didn't have any touchdowns, but 130 yards. He also had a handful of catches. Really looking like Detroit's really, really starting to put DeAndre Smith into their offensive game plan. The only problem and the only reason I wouldn't start DeAndre Swift is because the Lions' offensive game plan doesn't work that well.
It might be different now that Goff is out. Maybe. They have a decent matchup going to Miami. Miami does like to give up the run game quite a bit, even though we did kind of contain Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
But I keep Swift on my team. Yes, you shouldn't probably listen to me fantasy wise, but he is a good play. There's nothing wrong with him.
Fair. And then A.J. Dillon in Green Bay coming up with 66 yards and 2 touchdowns. And let's talk about this for a second. He's a starting running back now. Aaron Jones is out. If you handcuffed yourself with A.J. Dillon, Nate, are you going to start A.J. Dillon at least as like an RB3 in a flex spot?
Yeah, I think so. I like AJ Dillon. Honestly, there are a lot of questions this season. I remember reading some of the interviews that were coming up about the load that was going between the two guys and not letting some of them get high. And I think it's fair to say when AJ Dillon or obviously Aaron Jones, either of them would like get into a good rhythm, it's like keep him on the field. In this case, at the very least, if AJ Dillon has a good game, he's going to stay on the field and keep getting those touches. I think he's a reliable choice.
Great. You love to hear it. All right, now let's get into the pickups. This is where I talk because obviously these yahoos have not been very good at fantasy this year. Hey. I mean, I'd say yahoos with the most amount of love possible.
I've got a couple of our conversation players. I pay attention to the things that we talk about on the show. I've made some pickups. They've had some impacts. I've got some stuff to talk about this week too. Okay, don't you worry. You
look. I give him my all every single week. Okay, damn it.
Leave it on the field.
Yeah, I leave it.
Did you really? Because we got a
field.
bullet point to talk about here in a second that says you did not give it your all. Anywho, let's talk about the pickups for this week. All right, I mean, first and foremost, Cam Newton's back. He's obviously going to be the starter for the Panthers. I'm just going to throw this out there, by the way. In my league that I forgot to pull up, and I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stall until I get it pulled up. In my league that I picked up Cam Newton, by the way. I picked him up in my big money league. Cam scored something stupid like, I don't know, 13 points. 13 points. He touched the ball 7 times and he scored 13 points. Listen, here's the deal. If I click on his name right now, let's talk about it. Cam Newton is available in 88% of the leagues on ESPN. You have to be nuts to not pick up Cam Newton. If you need a quarterback, pick up Cam Newton and start him. I'm telling you right now. There's no reason why you wouldn't, especially if you're hurting for one. But, I mean, that's Cam. We're going to get into Cam in a little bit. I'm going to get trust. But no, I mean, Cam, if Cam, imagine that. If he's putting up 13 points with 7 touches, imagine what he's going to do with a full game. Now, he could throw 5 picks, and then you could all hate me, but that's besides the point. Right now, if you're looking for a quarterback, Cam's probably your best option. I really don't know anyone else that's a starting quarterback that's potentially going to put up good points that's available. Same goes for the next person on our list, Zach Ertz. If you need a tight end at this point, Zach Ertz is becoming a go-to for anyone who is quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals. And he had 4 for 6 for 46 yards. He's available in like half the leagues on ESPN. I don't know. May as well grab him. Now, this is the pickup that I've been saying for weeks now. How many times have I said this guy's name? Randre Stevenson, running back out of New England, still available in 31% of the leagues. If you have a chance to grab him and you need a running back, grab Randre Stevenson. Him and Damian Harris are kind of switching stuff up. I think Damian Harris is hurt. I don't know. I didn't pay attention to the Patriots this week. I don't like Mac Jones. He hurt Brian Burns. I'm mad at him. Anywho, and he didn't get fined. Sorry. But with that being said,
He should have been fine.
yeah. But if you got a chance to pick up Randre Stevenson, pick him up. So those are your 3 pickups. Grab Cam Newton, Zach Ertz, and Randre Stevenson if you need a quarterback, a tight end, or a running back, or a flex. I mean, Rhamondre is going to be like an RB4 or RB5, so he's going to be playing a flex anyways. But grab him. They love him. So the next bullet point for fantasy we have, Anthony, how'd your quarterback do this week?
So apparently Cam did a lot better than my quarterback that started.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just give you a quick backdrop. I did all my changes because I'm at work, so I really can't look at my changes. I did them at 11 o'clock my time. Cool. I thought for sure Colin Murray was going to play. There was no red thing. I think there might have been like a little injury thing, but I was like, okay, he's good to go. That was my assumption. I kid you not, when I went to go check the stats and everything, and I saw it wasn't him at quarterback, I got really confused and I got sad. And then my friend said, hey, man, you did great at quarterback this week. So, yeah. I lost.
Okay.
I lost.
How bad you lose?
By 25.
Okay.
25. Just 25.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as bad as that one week you lost by like 60 or 100.
Yeah, I'm sitting strongly in 8th place right now, and this is a league that the top 8 make it. So,
so you can go for a run.
Make it.
You can go for a run. All right.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Hey, just make sure you check those game day decisions next time.
Yeah, I'm working on that right now.
Yeah. So Nate, we haven't deleted this bullet point. It's Nate's loss of the week. Did we win or did we lose? And if we lost, why did we lose?
Okay, well, you know what? Look, this show, I think we've had some good conversations about fantasy pickups, especially looking for good options. James Conner. I know that game didn't go super well overall for Arizona, but they still have to rely on the run game. Obviously, garbage time points were nice for me. He put me up a bit, but you know who I put my faith in for running back 2 this week over the last guy? I don't even know. I had Devonta Freeman or some other jerk in the back seat. I put in Michael Carter, and no matter how bad the Jets lose, this guy puts it all on the field every play. 18 points from Michael Carter, just doing everything he can every down. That's probably been the best value pickup I've had. And on my flex, Devontae Smith. I've been saying I love him. I think he was only going to get better and reach that position this year. 3 players I've kind of had my eyes on as easy pickups for people maybe looking for somebody else because I had Derrick Henry. I don't need him. I got Michael Carter.
That was just said.
I got you.
All right.
Let's clip that
He's
one.
also on IR for the rest of the year, so I literally had to have someone
Now,
else.
So that didn't answer the question, though. Did we win or did we
I
lose?
won.
Okay.
It was enough. Yeah.
Hell
My
yeah.
opponent had like Christian McCaffrey and Myles Gaskin. No, running backs tore it up for me.
Love it. Love to see it. Well, that's at least 2 dubs this week. Sorry, Ant.
I tried. I tried.
You didn't try your best because you literally didn't start a player.
When did he? Okay, I just need to check the NFL. I thought he was
Saturday.
Gonna play.
They announced he wasn't going to play.
In his defense,
sorry,
I
you said
would have been
Saturday?
better off not starting the Jets defense. You would have been better off having an empty slot than them because they were in the
That too.
negative.
You would have got more points.
Yeah.
If you
Oh
just
my
left it
goodness.
empty.
All right. Well, that wraps up fantasy this week. Don't take any advice from Anthony, apparently. Nate, though, paying attention to the guys that we talk about here on this podcast coming back into the win column. You love to see it. Gives me some affirmation.
I swear I listen. I swear I do. All right.
I also have Kyle Pitts too, and he was not too shabby.
Yeah, we're gonna get into Kyle Pitts right now. Let's get into the Week 10 recap. I want like scene changing music whenever we change topics. Nate, make it happen. First thing we got. First thing we got. Carolina's revival in the desert. Carolina coming off the backs of I mean, Christian McCaffrey, PJ Walker, and Cam Newton, and a revived Robbie Anderson coming over the Colt McCoy-led Arizona Cardinals, 34-10. I mean, I'm just going to say it. My Cardinals friends did not want to hear it whenever we were going in this game. They were very certain they were going to win this. And I just kept saying, everybody likes to forget Carolina still got the number 2 defense in the league. And then what happened? 2 turnovers in the first quarter put Carolina up 17-0 at the end of the first quarter.
Man, it is Colt McCoy.
It wasn't just Colt McCoy. There were fumbles. Don't worry. Don't worry. And then we'll get into it, but Shaq Thompson had like the fastest sack of the past 4 years at 1.2 seconds from snap to sack. Man started running. It was crazy.
Very well timed. Very well timed.
But, I mean, we'll get into this in a little bit, but, I mean, looks like Carolina's just, they refuse to stay down, if you ask me. No, Carolina, whenever their defense is playing well, and obviously McCaffrey's in the game, they look like a totally different team. They also didn't turn the ball over. A particular quarterback not playing, that kind of probably helped that one. What up, Sam Darnold? Hope you enjoy the IR.
Cough, cough. Isn't it nice to have Rob? Isn't it nice that Robbie suddenly comes back once Darnold's gone too? How kind of him.
How kind of him. What do you, boyos? What do we think? Is this? I wrote Carolina's revival. Is this a revival of Carolina? We're gonna get into Cam, but like, do you
think based on how excited you are about it, I think I can definitively say yes. I don't know how long it'll last, but yes.
In Nell's mind right now, Carolina's going to the Super Bowl. And
whoa! I did not say that.
There's nothing that we can say that's going to deny. No. You know good as well, if Cam comes back this week and he goes back to not even his old self, but he gets like 4 touchdowns, he's running the ball, he's having a good time. I bet you money you're going to go on this show next week and you're going to be saying Super Bowl bound.
I ain't ever going to say Super Bowl bound because last time I said that, we lost the Super Bowl. So I ain't going to jinx myself.
No, I'm just saying.
Hey, you know what? As I said in the hot take last week, this team is instantly a better team with the signing that they made with Cam. I don't know if it's an actual revival. It depends on what Cam we get next week, but we're going to get into that. Then we got the AFC's back. The Patriots, Chiefs, Bills, and Titans back on top with blowout wins. And then the Browns, the Bengals, and the Ravens and more all fall down. So let's just talk about it. The Chiefs. Let's just get into that game. This looked like the Chiefs from last year or 2 years ago. What changed, Anthony? What changed between the start of the season to now where the Chiefs just lit up the field?
Mahomes. That's it. It's Mahomes being Mahomes. I think that everybody else was worried about Mahomes but himself. I think he knew that he can do this. He never looked rattled. I mean, shit. He threw 5 touchdowns, 400 yards with no issues at all. So, if Mahomes play like this, they're number 1 easily in the AFC.
All right.
They don't need a defense. Who needs a defense?
All right. Bring it back over.
Okay. Can't argue with that.
Yeah. And they play good defense. Two receivers over 100 yards. I mean, obviously, Darrell Williams kind of feeling in there with where every other running back they have is hurt. So, I mean, you can't deny the fact that Darrell Williams is filling in there. But, man, Travis Kelce with 120 yards and then Tyreek Hill doing Tyreek Hill things. You love to see it. But I think my biggest concern there from the Chiefs is, and I'm gonna pick. They only had 2 sacks against Derek Carr.
It'll be all right.
I saw a lot of people trying to say that, he still had these turnover-worthy plays or whatever on Mahomes' side of things, but this game was just one of those reminders that it doesn't matter how ugly it looks. If you make it work and you get the win is, the win is the win. As simple as it is.
Dub's the dub. You'll have to see it. Down that list that we said, the Patriots back on top. Mac Jones looking a little bit better than he had in the past. Beating Cleveland, who just last week, our very own Ant was saying was the team to beat.
Yep. Yes, I did.
What happened besides Baker Mayfield?
Baker Mayfield. Okay, I mean, it's really...
Brian Hoyer had a touchdown in this game.
They came out flat. They were very disappointing. But let's give some credit to Mac Jones. Let's give some credit to Bill Belichick. Letting Matt Jones throw the ball more, let him be a little bit more comfortable. Belichick is a good coach. Don't get it twisted. He is.
Mm-hmm.
But man, the Browns are they're
Well,
yeah.
not to
I don't know.
discredit anything that you said last week, Anthony. You were right that the Browns were able to lean on their run game. Yeah, remember, Johnson still had 100 yards rushing, and he caught another 7 passes for 58 yards. Their running game's where it's at, but your running game can only lead you so far when you have Baker Mayfield doing Baker Mayfield things under center.
Right. Yeah.
You know? That being said, the Bills staying over there on the East Coast. Nate, what are you liking from the Bills? Looks like they're kind of back on track after stumbling a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about that number one, that top ranked defense that they have, and obviously, you could say Mike White was quote unquote exposed in this game. Weirdly enough, we already talked about guys like Michael Carter still proving their own value on the field, but we need a real quarterback. We need somebody that can play ball against the top defense because obviously Jets were not able to show up there. But Bills' offense looked great. I mean, as far as the stats go, looking like where the strengths are, the Jets' young defensive backs were doing decently well all season, but the last couple of games just completely imploded since especially Marcus May tearing the Achilles. Like the Bills absolutely carved him up. Diggs was just running straight down the sideline. Just bomb it. Don't worry, I can get past these guys. And yeah, I mean, Bills they look like a team that we expected them to be at the start of the season, where when you have Josh Allen and Diggs, and there's no reason why they shouldn't be putting up double-digit leads over a lot of these teams. The fluke last week still kind of blowing my mind.
Yeah, I do want to point out that Joe Flacco was 3 for 3 for 47 yards and a touchdown.
Nobody want to know. I don't want to talk about Joe Flacco.
I didn't know Mike White threw 4 picks.
Yeah, we're not talking about. We're talking about Joe Flacco being perfect.
He's sour about life.
Joe Flacco was perfect.
Mike White was exposed.
Exposed is a word. Yeah. And then the Titans coming on top over the Saints, who a lot of us had been talking about the Saints being one of the teams to beat. The Saints obviously without Alvin Kamara, and you can see that they hurt a little bit without Alvin Kamara. But Tannehill and co just doing what they needed to do to get the win and not turning the ball over. Anthony, what do you like from Tennessee right now? Because they're not flashy anymore without Derrick Henry, but they won. What do you like from that team?
I love their defense. I literally love that they went from give the ball to Derrick Henry, he's going to tire out the team, to now they play stellar, stout defense. Once again, defense wins championships. All you need Tannehill to do is not turn over the ball. Make the plays when it counts. Maybe get to like the 10 to 5 yard line. Peterson, he still can like get those few yards for the touchdown. But man, give the defense. When you get good field position, you don't need a crazy offense. When your defense can force a team to go 3 and out, they punt the ball and you just cut the field in half because of your defense. The Titans are really, really good. I like this team. I do. I said the same thing about Cleveland, but I really like this team. I like the Titans.
Well, and with that being said, Tennessee's going to lose next week because Anthony likes them. But no, I agree. They're playing defensive football, and the great thing is that, like they bring in Adrian Peterson. They got Foreman. The guys are rushing for about 3 yards a carry, which with the way that they're playing right now is all they need. AP can get 8 carries, rush the ball for 20, 40 yards. Same thing for Foreman. Call it a day. You're good. I think this team really relying on their defense is the best way forward for them. But we talked about the Browns. The Bengals fall. The Bengals coming down. I mean, not exactly the worst game in the world, but also not the best game in the world. What do we? But either of you, who? I mean, the Bengals are falling. I mean, the Bengals obviously are kind of the last man out in their division. Where do the Bengals having not played this week, being on a bye, but where do they go from this? Like their whole division's kind of crumbling around them, and they're not doing much of nothing. They're much ado about nothing. So coming out of a bye, what do you want to see from the Bengals? if we're talking the AFC?
There's no easy answer to this question. I mean, honestly, with how crazy it's been between the injuries across the board, and like Lamar kind of having the off game, and nobody really knows what's going on in Pittsburgh, but they're somehow still winning. And Baker Mayfield, I still want to be on his side. I feel very conflicted talking about this division because it's such a mess. But the bye week has to have been huge for them. Get a couple of the banged up guys feeling a little bit better. I think a lot of their key pieces are still in place, but they need to come out hot. They need to come out hot and down the stretch. I think the division can definitely be within reach just because of the number of running backs that obviously Baltimore cycled through. They're coming back, but they let go of Le'Veon Bell today. But Baker's still kind of recovering, being in that weird spot, and I feel like these 4 teams are all really, really good, and I didn't want to say that about the Steelers at the start of the season, but they've been a little tenacious.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the Bengals need to do is come out and not blow it. They just need to not turn the ball over, just play simple football against any division team they're playing, and they could simply win out their division. They could. Anthony, you watched the Ravens game, like. The Ravens, and I said this probably 6 weeks ago, if the Ravens are having to put everything on Lamar Jackson's back, they're going to fall apart. And what are we seeing?
So what we saw on Thursday was 2 things. We saw that Brian Flores came from that Belichick tree for defense. He's a defensive-minded coach. And we saw that the Ravens, mostly Lamar Jackson, could not make the adjustment. Literally, Miami ran a blitz 75% of the time the whole game. And that was a lot. They ran a 0 coverage. They had no safety, and they sent more than what the linemen can block. So they had 8 at the line showing, 3 DBs covering the receivers, and then they'll just show them and drop back 2. Lamar cannot go through the progression. They couldn't change. They couldn't do the crossing routes that could have beat that coverage. Lamar should have made those changes. And it just shows that he's still learning as a quarterback. I'm not going to diss him. But the fact is that a Miami defense that was struggling the whole season was able to get to Lamar and rattle him. They got some work to do because they don't have a running game. They just released Le'Veon Bell, which he didn't do anything. They maybe need to look for that in the draft this year.
Okay. Noted. All right, with that being said, moving on down the line. Nate, this one's for you. It's the end of the Mike White era. The backups have shined in the past 2 weeks. But let's talk about Mike White and what happened a little bit more detailed. You said he was exposed.
Oh, God.
What happened?
Well, I guess we already talked about the Bills game, but I think this was mostly it was a fun 2.5 weeks between the little hand injury where Jets fans got to feel just a little teeny bit of hope. But I think the coolest and most interesting part about this, and I love that you mentioned as well, the other backup quarterbacks that have been kind of killing it a little bit is Zach Wilson was saying when they interviewed him about are you worried about him taking your job or getting these reps? And they were like, well, he's like, I'm going to get my chances. I was second overall pick, right? But you have a lot of players in this league that can kind of play ball, don't really get those opportunities. So it was fun to be a part of the hype wave. Obviously, it came to a grim and terrible end at the hands of a very, very good Bills secondary. But I think I can speak for a lot of fans out there when I say we always love when these players that are obviously not having a whole lot of chips to bargain with in contracts and getting deals on other teams. It's nice when they get a chance to be able to show that they can earn that.
Hell yeah. Well, at least Mike White is a serviceable backup. Hey,
at worst.
Arizona learned that in Colt McCoy, right? Like, they beat the 49ers last week, and they got a rude awakening with Hassan Reddick's revenge game in Arizona. Colt McCoy was literally knocked out of the game with a chest injury from Shaq Thompson's 1.27 second sack. But backups in this league are a hot commodity, and Mike White's one that's serviceable. If you can go in there in relief time, do another 400-yard game and throw some touchdowns, I think you got a good backup there for Zach Wilson moving forward.
Oh, Money
For
Mike.
sure.
Money Mike. You
For
hate
sure.
how the big men fall.
It's fun to get caught up in the hype sometimes.
So we're gonna move on down the line. I don't know who typed this, but I don't agree with the words that are about to come out of my mouth. And it says the Cowboys tripped, but are still the best team in the NFL. I don't know
I'm gonna throw up.
who thinks that the NFL.
Paul.
Is this Paul? Is this Paul? All right.
I
Well,
don't believe
Cowboys aren't the best team in the NFL, but we can talk about this. Let's bring this into more of a recap after watching this week. Who is the best team in the NFL? Because let's be honest, Green Bay didn't look that great against Seattle. That was a crap show. Arizona, obviously, without Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins, are duds against best team in the NFL. And then the Rams are falling apart too. So at this point, and the Bucs are falling apart. Who's the best team right now after this week?
Yeah.
The Titans?
This has to be the hardest question to possibly answer, right?
Is it the Titans though? Like, is there
Can
a firm
are we
argument that the
supposed to
Titans
have
are?
an answer?
Huh?
Are we supposed to have an answer? 'Cause
Yeah.
He's
this
putting us
is-
on the spot. He's putting us on the spot.
Yeah,
We're here to talk
I-
about the games.
I'll
We
give you
gotta
my
have
answer.
some
I think
idea.
I think the Titans are the best overall team in the NFL right now.
I mean, the record obviously speaks for it. And I'll go Titans, and here's why I'll agree. Because they lost Derrick Henry, because they've still been able to have a good game plan that can play around backups and bring in the incredibly old with many a child Adrian Peterson. All right, if he can come in, if they can make these things work, then I believe in the coach. I believe in the staff. Because honestly, I thought this team was going to implode as soon as Derrick Henry was taken out, and the fact that they're still on top says everything you need to know. If Mahomes is back to 100% power level, then I think the Chiefs very quickly catch up in that department. Same thing can be said for Lamar Jackson, or I guess any of these other big quarterbacks that we're kind of missing a little bit from in the last few weeks. But I don't know. It feels like everybody's kind of gassed themselves the last 2 or 3 weeks.
I got to pick.
What?
I ain't gonna like it. Oh, the best
There we
team in the NFL? Oh, the Chiefs. I'm going to Chiefs. I
Bold
literally
strategy, Cotton.
am going with the
That's,
Chiefs.
I was just saying, if Mahomes is back to being Mahomes, there's no reason why they shouldn't torch everybody else.
I think Dallas is a big phony. I really am going to say that. I don't care if they beat the Falcons the way they did, which they should have stopped the game. I do not. Dallas they haven't even played most of their division yet. If I'm not mistaken, they haven't, which I feel like they're going to flop. I feel like between Philadelphia, Washington, and the Giants, they're going to lose to Washington and they're going to lose to the Giants. They're going to find ways to lose those games because it's Dallas. So I don't want to put them in the best. I just don't want to.
Cool.
I would take an injured Arizona team before I do Dallas. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry.
actually, I would agree with you there too. Yeah, Dallas regularly does this thing where they have a couple of really good games, but then they have those weird blowout losses, and then it all boils down to it. The Eagles end up catching them. They don't make it out. They're not going to be a wild card team. Division's going to the Birds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still think the Giants are taking the division. I said that in week 1.
Eagles are catching
Or
fire.
week 2.
I love
Week
what I
2,
see.
I said it.
Love what I see coming out of Philly.
You can't deny Danny Dimes. That being said, we've already talked about Baker and the Rams. Like, listen, okay, OBJ obviously not making an impact, and the Rams just looking like a steaming pile of garbage on Monday Night Football. I mean, are you worried about Matt Stafford? Are you worried about the fact that Matt Stafford lost one of his favorites in Robert Woods? Is it just because OBJ's new? What are we thinking, Ant, with the Rams right now?
I might be tripping. I think they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
I think OBJ has found this happened. Robert Woods tore his ACL Friday, the same day they signed OBJ. And I think that was the best situation for OBJ. And I don't want anybody to be hurt. I don't condemn anybody to be hurt, but OBJ will get the balls now. He will. Cooper Kupp is still going to get his, but he is in a perfect spot to shine. He will. I think they forced the ball to him too much, especially that one interception when he chucked it down the field. I think they're going to be fine because their defense is going to be. I think that this is a good landing spot. I think the Rams will be fine moving forward.
Yep. Cool. I mean, I'm just gonna throw it out there. I think the Rams. I don't know if they'll win their division. I think Arizona is the team to beat there. If you're asking me in Arizona, like you sit. I mean, you don't even try to bring back Kyler Murray next week. You built up this cushion of 8 wins. You can afford another L, and then your bye week's the following week. So you got extra time to rest Kyler and DeAndre. Let them both sit. Because what happened last season, you rushed Kyler back from an injury, and it tanked your playoff hopes. So I think the Rams, like you said, are fine, but I think Arizona's going to be too much for them to take that division. But that's just where I sit with it. That being said, that's the end of the recap. Let's move on to the injuries real quick. The Chargers are without their baby boy. Without their favorite boy, Joey Bosa on the COVID list. Looks like he's going to be out against Pittsburgh, which, by the way, this Pittsburgh game is shaping up to not be that fun for either team involved because, let's just be honest, Big Ben's also out after testing positive. So you're getting Mason Rudolph going against the Chargers, and without Joey Bosa, I don't really know how the non-existent run defense is going to even – with Joey Bosa is going to stop Naji Harris. So I'm betting the over.
You bet what?
Yeah, I'm betting the over.
Oh.
And then in San Francisco, Elijah Mitchell broke his finger, but it looks like he might not miss any time. It looks like they might just tape it up and put it back in the field.
He's gonna go on the field with the club.
Yeah.
Modern problems require modern solutions.
I mean, at this point, what do? You don't have anyone else to run the ball in San Francisco, so we'll see what happens. And then, of course, you hate to hear it. Washington football team loses Chase Young to a torn ACL.
That's
tough,
that news
man.
crushed me. That news crushed me this week. I mean, you talk about young players with potential that are fun to watch. When people talk about the viewership being up this season in the NFL, I think the parity between the teams and the level of young competition has been a huge part of it. And I think it would be crazy to say without a shadow of a doubt that Chase Young did not draw people to watch those Washington games because, man, he's an animal, and I hope that he gets better as soon as possible.
Yeah, I agree. So those are the biggest injuries of the week. Moving on to the top storylines. Number one, 3 letters. It's return to the Cam. Cam Newton's back. Killer Cam, QB1, Super Cam, whatever you want to call him. Cam Newton's back with the Carolina Panthers with a story that could only be told in Hollywood. Making his debut back with the Panthers, where he started his career 10 years ago in Arizona, which is fantastic. Cam only played about 7 plays for the Panthers, but I mean, dude was only signed 3 days before the game. But on those 7 plays, he accounted for 14 points. So, listen, let's be honest. I said it in the hot take the other day. Carolina with Cam Newton's instantly a winning team. I don't know how deep they go in the playoffs with Cam Newton, but Cam Newton brings something to this team that no one else can. And that was evident on Sunday in Arizona when the defense balled out, when everyone balled out because Cam's there. You literally make yourself a better team just with Cam's presence. He doesn't even have to be touching the ball, and everyone's excited to be there. The guy was trending on Twitter for 24 hours because everyone was so stoked. Like, you should have seen it that morning. All of Carolina fandom was losing their collective minds waiting for Cam Newton to sign, and then he did. And then real quick, let's talk about the deal. It's a 1-year deal, and we'll get into kind of a little bit more about why it's 1 year. But it's a $2.25 million base with $2.2 million signing bonus, $1.5 million in per game roster bonuses. So every game that he's rostered, it's up to $1.5 million. $500K per NFC playoff win. He has to play 50% of snaps to get that, though. If they win the Super Bowl, it's another $1.5 million with $1 million for Super Bowl MVP. So base at $6 million, max at $10 million. And the reason I think all that's significant, and we want to go into those details, is this tells me Carolina's re-signing him in the offseason. You give him this much money to make a run, and Carolina's going to sign him to another 2-year deal. He'll play with Carolina. And I think Carolina then is going to be like, yo, Cam, why don't you help us find a quarterback to be your replacement down the road? Like, let's do what Green Bay did.
Do it right.
Yeah. Let's do this the right way, and you help us find a guy that really could replace you when you're ready to retire. Let's do the Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers thing, right? Let's do it that way. But I think, listen, Cam Newton is obviously better than Sam Darnold. Like, there's no argument. Like, even in the hype that I had for Sam Darnold at the beginning of the season, Cam Newton's better than him. And with Cam Newton, every week on the field, you have something exciting to watch. You have a better chance at winning because Cam Newton's on the field. And word for word, I said it. When Sam Darnold's on the field, you're kind of just waiting for his next interception. And I hate to say that because Sam is going to be a great backup. He is going to be a perennial backup. He's going to be a Chad Henne because the guy has proven that he can go in there and ball out. But he's also proven that he can't do it day in and day out.
Yep.
So, listen, I'm stoked, obviously. But y'all understand how sad I am that there's a big, giant banner at the top of the Panthers shop online that says Cam Newton jerseys are sold out. I'm about ready to buy another one. I already got 2, but I got the black one and the white one. Now I need the blue one.
You know what's going to be cool about this Cam thing is the fan base. I feel like already, like when he goes back home and he plays at his home stadium, they're going to go nuts. And I feel for you now. Like you're a Panthers fan.
Fun fact I saw before we started this: Panthers ticket prices are up 41% since they signed Cam Newton. Everybody wants to go. They want to go watch this team. Like being a Panthers fan is like being a Jets fan. No offense, Nate. Like sometimes you just lose excitement and you just watch because you're a fan.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But now we're excited again because the guy that we were so stoked for 9 years is back with the team. And on top of that, like, there's a legitimate chance they can make the playoffs. Right now, they're sitting at the 7th seed. Cam Newton coming in and doing what he does best with those 2 touchdowns. It's just, like, and to build off of what you said, like, everyone's excited, Anthony. Like, you should have seen it. At the end of the Arizona game, all the Panthers fans went down behind the Panthers bench. Like, everyone, at that point, it was a great tweet. Sheena Quick, who's a beat writer and reporter for Carolina Sports in Charlotte radio, and she just tweeted out a video of everyone in Cardinals jerseys leaving, and it just said the parting of the Red Sea. And I was like, this is great. And then when that happened, all the Panthers fans started walking down to that 100 level section. And then after the game, all the players had left. And then here comes this one guy running out of the visitors' locker room. Towel over his head, arms out like he's flying across, and you're like, oh, it's Cam. He goes behind the bench and just goes and gives everybody a high five along the way. It's like, this dude is also stoked to be back. He's as happy to be back with Carolina as we are to have him. And I think that's the biggest difference between what happened 2 years ago and what's going to happen now is that Cam's stoked. Also, we haven't even talked about the fact that Cam's got the best roster around him that he's ever had. Last year with New England was the worst roster he's ever had, and this year with DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, Chuba Hubbard, Christian McCaffrey, Tommy Trimble, Ian Thomas, just to name Brandon Zylstra too, who's slowly becoming this little slot god for Carolina. He's got a better receiving and running back core than he did when they went to the Super Bowl in 2015. Everything about this reunion says they're gonna win, and I am so stoked.
We can't tell at all. We can't.
Anywho, that's Cam Newton. If you wanted my prediction, I think Carolina can take the NFC South. I think they can. They're already undefeated in division play. Just want to point that out. They're 2-0. They've beaten the Falcons and the Saints. It all comes down to putting it on Cam's shoulders. But I think at the very least, Carolina makes the playoffs as the 7th seed.
Look, this is a perfect storm. Jameis is out. And this is the yep.
Jameis
Cam Newton runs circles around Jameis.
Jameis will always be here regardless. So this is a perfect storm. I'm really excited for you now and your team. I think seeing Cam happy again, this is just like a natural happiness. I saw a video on the sideline. He's already leading the team.
Oh, he was kneeling down with the entire team around him, like giving pointers on what they should do and how they should do it, and wasn't in the game for the he didn't go into the rest of the game. He was just there leading from the sideline. Like you get another assistant head coach with Cam Newton.
Yeah, this is a a marriage that you just can't let go of. Keep Cam, give him like the legacy contract. He needs to stay there, not just for his performance on the field, but he's Carolina football. That's him. That's what he is. So keep him.
To build on that, what you said, he's Carolina football. When the Panthers traded for Stephon Gilmore, Gilmore came in and said that he wanted number 1 because he's worn it elsewhere. And Dave Tepper, the owner of the Panthers, who oversaw the release of Cam Newton, said no, that number means too much to the Carolinas for anyone else to wear. So first of all, I think that means this was less Matt Rule and Fitterer doing their job, and Dave Tepper saying, "Go sign Cam Newton now."
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That being said, staying on the NFC South, I'll stop talking about Cam. Don't worry, I got another bullet point, Moss fan. I see you in chat. I got another bullet point that just says Cam. So we're gonna get back to him. Should we be concerned?
I did write down Cam too, just to be
Oh
clear.
yeah, you did. Cam 2. I deleted it and I moved it down to Cam. And
Nice.
someone wrote Cam 3. So, should we be concerned about the Tampa Bay Bucks right now? Nate, what do you think?
I mean, yeah. Obviously, you have to. That's a team that commands respect no matter what. Because I think underestimating.
No, I mean,
them is
should we be
asking
concerned
for
about their
blood across
play?
the board.
Not like if you're
Oh, their
going to play
play?
them. Yeah.
Also, no, I guess. The thing is, like that they're a team that is going to reach a tipping point with the old players that are like, oh, we're all banding together. Like this is that movie, The Expendables or whatever. Like once that Titanic cracks in half, there's no putting it back together. So we either think it's a minor slip up, or we think that they've hit the iceberg. But I don't think they're at the iceberg just yet.
I want to point out they've lost 2 in a row to New Orleans without Jameis, and to the Washington football team, who is being quarterbacked by Taylor Heineke, the ye old XFL superstar.
Don't underestimate Heineke.
Yeah, hey, he played for the Panthers and he did good in relief. But in those 2 losses, he has 4 picks, which is over half of his picks on the season. His completion percentage is still good. It's still 70 and 68%. But his QBR's down. He doesn't look comfortable in the pocket right now. Like, are we starting to see old touchdown Tommy come back to earth? Anthony?
So Brady is still playing for the Bucks, right?
Yeah.
I have no issues with him. He's gonna be fine. When it comes to the playoffs, he will be Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
I'm never ever doubting this man again. I am not going down this path. I learned my lesson. He is beating the snot out of Miami.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Okay.
he's fine.
All right. Let's move on down the line. So, one of the top running backs of the past decade being released by the Ravens, Le'Veon Bell, again without a home. What does this spell the end for Le'Veon Bell, Anthony? What are we like? Are you? We're gonna get to Nate's feelings on this because Le'Veon Bell has played for his team. But Anthony, from an outsider's perspective on, is this the end of Le'Veon Bell?
It looks like it. I think he can just focus on his rap career.
Wait, he's got a rap career?
Trust me, you don't want to hear it.
Hold on, I need to look this up.
Trust me, man. You don't want to hear Le'Veon Bell rap. It's not good. It's not good.
He's gonna have other
overly auto-tuned. It sounds like it's like he really wanted to do it and he had all this money to make his dreams happen, but probably could have put that energy into like making pottery or I don't know, maybe like dance. Maybe he'd be like a good dancer. I have no idea, but rapping was not the direction to go in. Not for this man.
Okay.
Or his competitive Smash Bros career. There you go. He should put a little more energy, a little more focus into that.
All
There
right.
it is.
Nate, what do you think? Is this the end of Le'Veon Bell? I mean, you saw him up close and personal as a Jets fan. What's going on there?
It's so weird because he has all these things that he does that he talks about, right? Like his rap stuff and whatever. But when he was on the Jets, I never felt like he was like a source of drama or strife. Like you could kind of dismiss it to some degree just because Adam Gase literally, even when we had him, did not use him at all. Like the Frank Gore up the middle for 2.5 yards every play was very real, even for those first 6 weeks. So I can see why he would have been distressed with the team, but he never came out and had anything bad to say. So I always wish the best for him, but he just doesn't seem like he has it. I don't know where that fire is. I don't know where that passion for the game is, because he just doesn't seem like he runs as hard as he needs to. And if he's trying to be a finesse back at 30, it's never going to happen. So I do feel for him, because, you know, especially if you've ever checked out his socials, he has all this really self-degrading like stuff about the comments that people make about him, and he really focuses in on that. And I think if he can't get over the whatever monkey he had on his back with stuff, I don't think he ever gets back to that place, and time might be running out for him to do that. Like I wish he could have been able to make it work in Kansas City. I would have loved to see him be happy and successful there. I felt the same way when the Ravens picked him up, but I don't know. I don't know.
Fair. All right, moving on down the line. So the Steelers moving forward with Mason Rudolph. Big Ben obviously tested positive for COVID. That being said, Anthony, is this where we start to see kind of Pittsburgh shoot themselves in the foot for having not drafted or signed someone behind Big Ben? Because Mason Rudolph's been there for years. We've seen him a ton. He's never really done anything great except for try to kill Myles Garrett.
Yikes.
I don't. There's something about Mason Rudolph, I guess, that Mike Tomlin likes, because they're still not even giving Dwayne Haskins a chance. I think it was Haskins that's his the backup. I don't think they're giving him a chance. I don't know what is going on behind the scenes there, but do not watch this game. Please don't. This is going to be very boring.
Naji Harris is going to have 700 yards rushing.
He's going to have 700 attempts for 7 yards because they're going to stack the box because Mason Rudolph. I mean, yeah. I just this offseason, go get yourself a young quarterback. You can't rely on Big Ben. He's just old.
Yep. Fair.
So
we already talked about the Rams, so we're going to skip that one. But let's talk about good old Teddy B and the tackle that never was. I don't know if you guys saw a clip of that.
Okay. But after what happened to Baker Mayfield and the dumpster fire that tearing the dude's arm open.
We're going to get into this because we're going to talk about the fact that he didn't make an effort. And in Super Bowl, Cam Newton was dang near crucified for not going after a fumble that Von Miller was going to eat his head if he went near. No, okay. What?
There's no good answer to these questions. There's no easy thing to do, because every time the quarterback doesn't go for it, you're like, oh well, what if it was like this moment where the punter forced a fumble or whatever, right? But then every time that something happens where the person gets hurt, it's just I don't know. I can't blame him. I can't blame him, because if he gets hurt, if he puts his team in the same situation that the Browns are in right now, like everybody's like, oh my God, it's so not worth going for the tackle, bro. That was the worst decision of all time. But now, at the very least, we don't have to. There was no risk of hurting himself by not doing it. And that game, honestly, I get the vibe Philadelphia was going to crush him anyway. So
yeah, I mean, I will say this: Teddy B did come out and say that he feels like he failed his team with low effort on that play. Anything to buy in there? Do you think he's beating himself up, and he might try a little bit harder on stupid plays later on down the line, or what?
No, like I think he did. He protected himself. I was watching the replay, and yeah, he could have hurt himself if he would have went in with his right shoulder, his throwing shoulder, injured himself. He already had injuries in the past. No, you're fine, Teddy B. You good?
Don't pull a Tom Brady and become a meme for the rest of your life trying to make a tackle and get run over. That's the end of the top storylines. We're going to get real quick into the rookie recap before we get to the end of the show. We got a couple new names here that we haven't talked about this season, but Naji Harris, I've talked about him a couple times this week. He had 26 carries for 105 yards, 4 catches for 28 yards, and just throwing this out there, he's got 646 yards rushing and 317 yards receiving on the season. Naji Harris is the real deal, but Anthony, is he the focal point of Pittsburgh's offense moving forward?
He has to be. Who else? You
don't want the baked potato to be the focal point?
He's a potato. He's a potato. He's not even baked anymore. He's just a potato.
Wow.
he wobbles to the ground like a potato. No, you have to be. This is your new Le'Veon Bell. This is your new stud. And
That's not a
I
ringing
said it.
endorsement.
Yeah, he's the old when Le'Veon Bell was over here with the killer bees and everything. This man is real. He's the truth. Just get a new quarterback.
All right.
You got to.
Then coming on down to someone we've talked about quite a bit, Kyle Pitts going 4 catches for 60 yards, which equated to half of the Falcons' passing game. Obviously, the Falcons are kind of invested in Kyle Pitts, but how much so? Nate, you said you had Kyle Pitts running, so you probably watched the game a little bit closer than the rest of us. Is Kyle Pitts, is he less tight end, more receiver? Is he the focal point of this offense? Does Matt Ryan have a new favorite since Roddy White's been gone? What's going on there?
Well, it's obviously a little bit difficult to answer the question because it's I think the game there. I'm not going to say that there was a whole lot to look forward to when the team Twitter has to put out the we know messages, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like obviously they kind of got obliterated, but I like that if he's at least putting himself as this guy that can get these handful of little passes here and there. I honestly can't say that the points he picked up this week mean a whole lot because the team effort in general was just not there. But I like Pitts. I like Pitts. I want to stay on him. I think that he's somebody that has a ceiling, can go way higher.
Fair. All right, then we got 2 defensive players that we're going to talk about real quick. One of them coming from the Miami Dolphins, Javon Holland. Anthony, he's got 28 tackles on the season, followed with 10 assists, forced fumble, 2 sacks, and interception. How much are you loving seeing Javon Holland develop into a player that the Dolphins defense can rely on?
I love this guy. I love when they drafted him out of Oregon in the 3rd round. I'm so glad they just let him start. He's opposite of Brandon Jones that we drafted a year before out of Texas. And these are 2 young, like they want to go for the ball. They like to go for hits.
Mm-hmm.
Hollins was a pest for Lamar Jackson. He was that safety blitz off the corner. He's able to let Brandon Jones, the other safety, play more of a box type of safety, center field. This kid is amazing. I cannot wait to see him develop and grow. Like he's a real deal. Really fun to watch. Got me excited.
You love to see it. And then coming down, Kwity Paye, by far my favorite name coming out of the draft this season. But 1st round pick out of Ole Michigan. Also, one of the few players to be drafted in the 1st round that's not from America. Refugee of the First Liberian Civil War. A lot of hype around Kwity Paye coming into the season, and then the first 8 games of the season didn't really do much. But last 2 weeks, boy howdy, has Kwity Paye showed up. 16 pressures in 2 games for the Colts after only 8 to start the season. I'm not going to lie. Kwity was someone that I wanted Carolina to draft with the 9th pick or 8th pick. What do we have? 8th pick? It's been a long time since we covered that draft. But he's turning heads in Indianapolis, and I think if Indy is smart, they start building that line around him as a focal point and let him continue getting those pressures on quarterbacks. But that's rookie recap. Going ahead, moving forward into Week 11 coming up. Some of the things that we're looking forward to, Cam Newton getting his first start for Carolina since 2019. Dude, it's all jumbled together at this point. I don't know what year it is. There was a pandemic. A lot of stuff happened. He played for Bill Belichick, which still blows my mind. Cam Newton.
A fever dream.
Yeah, dude. Oh, my goodness. Cam Newton coming in and starting with this team. We kind of already talked about it. I say we kind of talked about it. I talked about it. So with that being said, Carolina's 5-5. Cam Newton is obviously going to come in and start. Now, here's where it gets fun. Next week, Carolina plays the Washington football team that is coached by Ron Rivera and headed up by Taylor Heineke, the guy who essentially replaced Cam Newton whenever he got hurt in 2019. This is for both of you. We'll start with Anthony. Does Cam surprise everyone and just tear it up and win this game for Carolina? Or does Cam do what he's been preaching since they signed him and make it less about him and all about the team? The ball gets spread around. They work as a unit as they did in Arizona, and they win the game that way.
I don't think he has hard feelings for Ron Rivera
No.
and whatnot because he obviously he gave Cam Newton a chance, but he will celebrate. He will get one off. He will get a touchdown. He will like dance on them. But I think
I need a
it's
dab in
more
my
about
life.
exactly. I think he's gonna get the win, and I think it's gonna be sweet. But yeah, I think he's gonna ball out. It's Cam. I'm not happy to see him back playing.
Love it. Hey, that video of him screaming, I'm back after that first touchdown. Take that video and inject it into my veins every day when I wake up, just so I can get into the mood of life. But Nate, what are you thinking? How are you feeling about Cam and Carolina going against Washington in Charlotte, by the way? So what do you think?
Okay, two biggest things to take away. Obviously, I'm never gonna cheer injuries or anything like that, but the impact of not having Chase Young is definitely going to be felt on the field. You're taking what should be a lethal amount of pressure away from Cam Newton, who's coming in, and especially with the way that last week went, only gets a couple plays. I think you have to be excited, and you know that he's got to be feeling that all the fans are excited to have him back because. That's the guy that you had that's brought you the success before. So I'm excited to see Cam light it up because honestly, I don't feel like we're gonna get that big bust where it's like, okay, I actually can't play football anymore. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think he's got a hot streak coming up, at least a couple of games.
Love to see it. Love to hear it. That being said, I don't agree with what's next, so we're gonna wing it here. We got two games to talk about real quick. We got a must-win game for both teams involved in the with the Bengals taking on the Raiders. This is a must-win game for both teams. Who comes out on top though, Ant? Who do you think really takes this game? The Raiders obviously being down their number one receiver and one of their cornerbacks, as well as a coach still. So who you got taking this one?
I got the Bengals. I think the Bengals will, fresh out of the bye week, I think they're going to get back on track. I like the combination of Joey B and Jamar Chase. I think this is just a nice win for the Bengals.
Perfect. Nate, what do you think?
Yeah, this has to be that. This has to be them coming in feeling good, right? And seeing the state of the team, like we were talking about earlier. The key to success for them is to just play their ball, keep their healthy guys doing what they got to do, and yeah, I'm liking the Bengals.
Love to hear it. I'm going to take the Bengals as well, and like no hate to Derek Carr and the Raiders. They're doing the best they can with the situation that's been put in front of them, which it's like unprecedented. This is a close game, it's Cincinnati -1, but I think. The Bengals coming out. This is a chance for Joey B and Jamar Chase to really prove themselves as leaders of this team. Like you said, coming out of bye and really prove themselves as a team to be reckoned with in their division. Speaking of teams that are almost in must-win, but not really in must-win situations, we got the Cowboys taking on the Chiefs in Kansas City. This is kind of a battle of pretender. Are we pretenders or are we contenders here? Right? This is a proving ground for both teams. Obviously, Chiefs coming off of Mahomes' 400 yards and 5 touchdown performance. The Cowboys coming off the fact that their defense literally just decimated the Falcons into the ground. The Falcons were basically that dub that Randy Johnson hit with a pitch that one time. That's what happened in that game. That being said, Nate, Chiefs versus Cowboys, what are you looking forward to? But who do you have taking this?
I like the Chiefs. I want to see the return to form. I think Anthony and I were kind of about the same mind on this one earlier. Mahomes got to be back, and the Cowboys, they always get exposed. They're the team that just loves to rile up all the people in Texas because there's so many football fans in there, and then break their hearts and disappoint them since the '90s. So they're going to continue to do that.
What about you, Ant?
See, this might backfire on me, but I've really seen the Chiefs dominating this game. Like I told you before, I don't believe in the Dallas. Dallas can prove me wrong, but I think they're going to pick on Diggs. Even though Diggs has been getting a lot of interceptions, but he does give up a lot of yardage. I do see the Chiefs at home. I just don't see Dallas doing this. I think Mahomes drops another 5-piece.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't. Prove me wrong, Dallas. Prove me wrong.
All right. That being said, that's the end of Episode 10 of the regular season, The Return of the Mac. I mean, Cam is what it's titled. Can Cam do it? Can Cam? Cam can. Say that 12 times fast. But as always, Nate and Anthony, thanks for joining me. Any parting words, or are we just signing off at this point? Everybody wants to go play Halo, y'all.
Thanks for watching. Great to see y'all.
Yo, Nate, so glad to have you back on this side of town. Thank you for doing this stuff. Like you did it yesterday, last week at 3:00 in the morning over there in Sweden. Just big shout out to you. You got back yesterday at midnight. I know your sleep is all messed up, but we just want to say thank you. We love when you're making it on these crazy times. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I love doing this. I love hanging out with y'all. So
Heck yeah. It's great. It's great. And if you are listening to us, you can join us live every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. We hang out. We do interact with chat. We do what we can to keep you guys involved. As always, my name is Nelstar, joined as always by Ant and Nate. And we'll catch you guys next week for week 11 of the regular season. Thanks, y'all.
Yay.